So my great-grandfather is called Christian Ulrik Dam in Danish. He and his brother Andreas and Michael Dam, they come from an island in Denmark called Christians Ø or Christians Island. It's a very small island, a military island where they also had prisons, and
Yes.
they had the last political prisoner in Denmark. He was called Dr. Dampe,
Oh,
and they held them in captivation there for, I don't know, 30 years, I think it was.
wow.
But it was their father that was a prison guard. And,
Yeah.
and these guys, they talked a lot to this political prisoner,
Sure.
and they gave him some ideas, or he gave them some ideas. So they basically left Denmark in 1841
Yes.
For St Croix.
Okay.
And actually also in 1841, my great-grandfather, he married my great-grandmother. They got 8 children.
Wow.
My
And that was here.
that was, I don't know actually, because my great-grandmother, she was born in Denmark, but that was at a point in time where they still were here. That was
Okay.
no, maybe not. I don't know actually, but I'm told that she was basically been here.
Yes.
And then but he went back, and my great-grandmother went, and he also went back to Denmark, and my great-grandmother married my great-grandmother married my great-grandfather,
Yes.
who was called Hoegdal, which is a name I carry in Denmark,
Yes.
and they were basically managing a station at the border to Germany.
Okay.
But anyway, going back here to St Croix, Christian, he had a brother,
Uh-huh.
called Andreas Michael Dam. And Andreas, he actually first he impregnated a slave, very young slave. He was kind of like in his 40s.
Uh-huh. Wow.
So yeah, and this slave got a child which died at the age of 4 from
Wow.
vomiting, and I believe the slave also died because he married another slave that was 14 years old,
Yeah.
which is also impregnant. And he got 2 children with this slave that he married, called I forgot, Clementine,
Uh-huh.
or short Clemmy. She was called
Wow.
Clemmy, and then a boy called, I think, Andreas, like his father.
Yes.
And they took back to Denmark, where Andreas was a light keeper,
Uh-huh.
and he got 2 children, and Clemmy also got 2 children in Denmark, and that's where the trace is basically, for me, I left the trace. I don't
Yes.
know more about that. So they went back to Denmark, and they were mulattoes, and that was not so easy at that point in time.
Okay.
In Denmark, there was not a lot of mulattoes in Denmark.
Sure.
So they had a good life, I think, and
Uh-huh.
he was lighthouse manager. I think Clemmy had it a little more difficult,
Uh-huh.
as I understand from my aunt
Yes.
who met her. But he went back to Denmark in 18 something and died. He was from Christian Ulrik Dam, my great grandfather. He was from 1823, and he died at 1900. So he was quite old in age.
Yes.
So he remarried actually after his first wife died, which is my great grandmother. So he remarried again
Yes.
with a very young woman,
Uh-huh.
and got 9 children in total.
Whoa.
8 children with my great grandmother, and one child with the other woman.
Wow.
And I think my great grandmother, my great grandmother was called Josephine, maybe number 4 and number 5 in that row.
A
And
popular name.
I think that's what I remember.
Wow, that's quite a bit.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, let me show you a little bit.
I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.